let me complain just one more time about video games in general. I promise you, if and when I ever make another video game video, that will be about a specific game or a limited amount. I just like not this. Here are 10, 15, 100 stuff on new movies, games, whatever. That's just overwhelming. Anyway, so I'm selecting myself a few games that I like to return and just you know uh, most of the games I should return them as soon as possible, but it's they have to live from me too, so I don't want to hurt the company, and just having the games, maybe I will like them in the future or something, maybe I will feel starved, but anyway, there are serious factors I am considering when choosing a game. And only one of those is graphics, because graphics is attractive. And when it comes to this new pixel art wave of games, why are we doing this? Pixel art means it's graphic from way back when, from the Commodore 64 era. We don't want that, because that looked horrible shit. And even when you try to play it on modern hardware, they usually just weird it out, so it can't even show appropriately as intended. The colors will go off and things start glitching and all that kind of stuff. So it's anyway. So it's if you are doing a pixel art or something like that, that will always be a negative. It can be looked over if you are making it serving the game, but 99.99% of the time it will be considered negative. It's not just bad. Now that's mostly aesthetic, but what I like is story. My biggest my complaints will be in general repeated mechanics over all the releases of the genres. But the most the genre that has the most offering considering story is RPGs. Obviously, that's as I'm specifically talking about the Western RPGs. I will talk about the Eastern RPGs a bit later. The Western RPGs is mostly real time with posing, so you can pause anytime and think through what you are doing actually. And you go somewhere and there is an event, something happens. Like you encounter a mage. But it's not just a mage, it's a mage that would otherwise not bother anybody, but is rising the dead because he went psycho, because he has depression, and he wants back his family who died in some village burnt down or something like that. That's a great story. And he attacks you because his skeletons attack you, so, he's just defending his family. Now, when you go the next way, there is someone who is trying to sell you stuff for very cheap price. Turns out it's all cursed. So you try to take revenge, and turns out it's not just a average Joe, but a wizard who is making these cursed scrolls to take advantage of people. When they read the scrolls, they die, and so he loots them. That's another story. You go that way. Oh, there are three mages who are making a gathering. And because it's a secret gathering in the middle of the forest or whatever, you just open the door, you shouldn't have to. They attack you. That's another story. That's how Western RPGs work. But when you are doing it, you know, big corporations do it, it's these games take a month, even if you have all the time in the world. That's a hell of a lot of a time. Playscape, Baldur's Gate 1, 2, 3, whatever you want. Under Dark, or whatever was the title, and so on, and so on, and so on. It takes literal months. That's not you can't always afford that. So another end of the sizes of the games is platformers. Usually they are compressed, short. Even if the overall game is longer, offers a lot of exploration or levels, what have you, you can make it short segments, do the thing in short segments, so they have a good runtime. It's appealing, and they usually, it's just platforms jumping around, shooting or hitting a bunch of some monsters like Super Mario or something. They have to offer various aesthetics. So the environmental storytelling is right there. They are usually bright colored, fast paced. It's very appealing. Now, where they can fuck up, one is over stylized, like Asian platformer Super Mario leading this. I think that's ugly. That's no, I don't want that. If you like that, good for you. Another is Apes Exodus, Apes Odyssey, and so on, the Apes games. You know how many secret stuff there is? And the endings depend on them. Finding all of them. And some levels, enemies are chasing you. And you should keep in mind to try to find all possible exits to secret levels, areas, rooms. And you start hating the game. And you no longer ever play it. Because you want a good ending. But the good ending takes so much effort, you hate it, that you can't achieve it. So, yeah, the storytelling died there. Then there are games that's very easy to understand why I don't play them. First person shooters, arena shooters, player versus computer enemies, doesn't matter. It's called PvE, but who cares? Or you already know. These games are, here is the crosshair, and there is the target. That gets old very fast. And especially that, and how many guns can you have? Or melee weapons, sometimes they use melee weapons. It's just whack, whack, whack. There is the machine gun, there is the pistol, poof, 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 and there is the rifle, boom, and it spreads the bullet in short range, and there is the sniper rifle, poof, poof, poof. That's kinda it. Maybe throw in some flamethrower and a nuke, but that's pretty much it. And then, of course there's the rocket launcher, which if you shoot in open spaces, it will hurt you too. Yada yada yada. There is not much possible variety, and when you think about superpowers, what they always have super speed, super strength, and they cannot be damaged, and they have what else they have? Laser beams. Laser beam coming out of the eyes, the nose, the fingers, the arm, the ass. Laser beams. In the end, it's all laser beams. Different colors, you can put different science lingo behind it. It's always the energy beam. Great. It can get old very fast, if we are honest. Then there is something I have a big gripe on. Roguelike. Or roguelite, whatever you call it. There is some nuanced technical difference. I don't care. It's when you start a game and you have one life, you progress somewhere, you collect maybe some resources, and when you die you start all over, but you have got those resources you gathered, so you can buy some stuff, new abilities or stronger abilities or something, so you start with a better chance. That's all fine and dandy when you are at least allowed to keep the resources. Some don't let you, I tell you, some don't. Now the other problem with these is when it's it's not just a procedurally generated maps. That means you go out of the town and they start to generate the map from the get-go, especially the monsters on the map. They just randomly spawn from nothing. So when you go here, the next time you will either not find the monster or find a different monster, for example. That's just the basic. But in roguelike, maybe here you will find now a boss. And you will find the endgame boss. Fuck you! How am I supposed to win? You can't win, even with maxed out everything. Or if you can, then what's the challenge anyway? And when the generated map cannot be won by any measure, then fuck you. This is especially true the once popular something of Isaac. You play the number child, something, whatever with the mother, and there even the the story cutscenes came in random order. That made absolutely no sense. And you know what you want there? If you manage to win somehow, because there you couldn't even hoard resources to start stronger, you just could find resources while playing, and you could sometimes, if you got lucky, buy more stuff to progress further. It was not guaranteed either, so it was a very bad game. You won harder difficulty. Fuck you. So roguelikes, I avoid them like plague. Then there are strategy games. Heroes of Might and Magic series comes to the prime example of what I hate. Or there is Jagged Aliens 2. Jagged Aliens 2 is great game. The problem with it? Too large. Just too large. Now, Heroes of Might and Magic. My problem is, it worked. It was turn-based, whatever, doesn't matter, really. It started as a primate map. It's everything in the exact same place everywhere. It took one level took at least an hour to do. Others took up to like 10 hours. And when you got fed up with it, you came back months later. If you didn't use a walkthrough. Now, turned out after a while it was very obvious. Heroes of Might and Magic 2 was at an earlier level, so it was very apparent there very soon. But I played it after Heroes of Might and Magic 3, where I could get way further without a guide or walkthrough or anything like that. You have to play like the designers intended. You can't discover with the tools you were given. You can't make the army you build according to your style of gaming. Uh, you just had to do it the premeditated way. And RPGs are notorious of this also. Without a walkthrough or guide or whatever, a proper walkthrough, you cannot know what you are missing. And I guarantee you miss the best quests and the best equipment without a walkthrough, which tells you what specific stat and perk and statistics you need to have to even have the option for the stuff. And the worst thing was when a friend of mine, or just associate, played Planescape Torment blind, absolutely blind, and he got to the very end of the thing, and I didn't have problem because I used a walkthrough, and I even assembled the walkthrough and translated to Hungarian. Actually, it was published in the local video game magazine. We had two in the country. One of them picked it up. Turned out the developers forgot to make one of the end challenges right before the main boss a level scale the monster, and he just got stuck. You can't come back to buy more or grind more resources, and he was just too weak. Sin of the video games. But you know who mastered this? Adventure games. When you are playing through an adventure game and you know what you are doing, so you know every step, it takes 1 to at most 3 hours, any random adventure game. But if you don't, you try to make it blind, you will probably get stuck. And that's by design. A couple of decades earlier, when adventure games were the top of their games, pardon the pun, they literally made the puzzles unsolvable. So you had to call a hotline to ask for the solution for the puzzle. And they made a shitload of money from that. Great. Now, adventure games, by the way, nowadays don't have this kind of money making, and so they, if somebody makes an adventure game nowadays, they usually even enter direct hint system into the game, so they highlight the hotspots and all that. So adventure games nowadays tend to be more fair. Sometimes they still have moon logic, but that just comes with the genre. Now, don't come with the genre. I mean, it comes with the genre, but we don't like it. Is when you play a looter shooter or hack and slash looter. Diablo franchise is famous for this. You cannot have the equipment you would like because it has a multiplayer part, and go there, spend money there. If I want to play it a single player, why can't you allow me to buy the stuff in a shop? I grind the gold or whatever, but let me do it. Will it affect anybody? No, but of course they want the money, so you are pushed to play it in multiplayer. That's the only reason. Although Diablo 2 didn't even had an official marketplace for the stuff. So that was absolutely, you saw the scam. They were absolutely cheating for their own game. And you know what Diablo 1 did? It was slow as fuck. You couldn't run, so the game had no speed, no pace. And after a couple of levels, they always threw you an unexpected type of monster. One that shot you from out of screen, one that appeared out of nowhere, spawning on your head, and that kind of bullshit. So it wasn't that good of a game. And by today's standards, it's a bad game. Diablo 1 is a hell of a bad game. Do not buy it. You will regret it. And let's talk about fast on JRPGs. Traditionally, these have turn-based battle system. Nowadays, the JRPG means nothing because they have real-time battle system. So what even is the difference? The problem with these is they have too much battles. It's you go start here, start with the intro, and there is a melodramatic music and some stoic character posing there with something, and usually some feathers are flying around because we need that, and you have to find in the game the series of MacGuffins, usually gems, and even Pokemon has gems because the gym badges look like stuff. And then you fight God. Most often, you literally fight God in Japanese stuff. And that's the game. Always. That's always the game. And so you start with an intro cinematic, and you go to the first town, and you have one line of dialogue with some NPC who says your father's mother's neighbor's dog's uncle killed whoever, so you have to take your revenge. Great. Now go out to 100 random battles and get to the next town, where some grandma will tell you either a prophecy or tell you where is some ultimate weapon, or why what grandpa said in the first town is actually not true, yada yada yada. One box of dialogue, this. Not just those sentences. Go do another 1000 random battles to get to the third town, where you get another one line dialogue, and then you battle another 1 million random battles to get to the fourth town, and then you do 1 gigapacks random battles and fight God. That gets boring very fast. Even if the combat is interesting and you can make all kinds of combo, where is the story? I don't even want the character development and all that, but give me a story, something to because there's too many random battles, and it's, as I tell you, these are literally random monsters spawning at random places. It is there is no environmental storytelling. There is nothing. By the way, I also don't like the Western, these Skyrim type games, where you send the main plot can be done in 1.5 hours, but the game is usually takes up from a gamer, the average gamer spent 1,000 hours in that, because there I saw that thing, so I go that way. I don't. I'm not that type of person. Good if you are, but you can't tell me Skyrim, because I don't care about that kind of storytelling or whatever. But you see, so when you consider all this, and I didn't even mention the weird games, where you are sitting there and you bought it for $2 because you want to find out what this shit is. You can't recognize what's happening on the screen, and you never get anywhere with them. And the controls are also shit. You know, I would love those old and weird games, but if you are releasing on a modern operation system, like or Windows 10, 11, whatever you want, Linux, whatever, can you do something with the controls? Like GOG released Alone in the Dark 1, 2, 3, even for free. I don't no longer even pick up free games. I want them, these giveaways, to cost 1 cent. So people consider. I do consider, and I usually don't pick them anymore, the free games, because I won't play them. That's just the truth. They won't appeal to me, and I throw it away after 10 minutes to 2 hours. I just throw them out and never return, bury them. But you know, Alone in the Dark 3 had the worst controls. I had it way back when, in the 90s, when it was kinda fresh. You know, I hate the computer and video game industry because you need a high-end PC, which is way overpriced to what it actually can do, to play the new games. Even with a medium range PC, I only could afford like 2 to 5 years old games at best, and the 2 years olds were indie games. So I usually play 10 years old games. When the internet appeared and I could figure out what, this video game magazine released, yeah, turned out they were 8 to 10 years old games. I loved that. I loved the games, but I hated the fact that these were such an old games. Where was I? Oh, yeah. So, Alone in the Dark 3 has this cougar segment where you had to push the buttons so it ran or jumped or whatever, and 90% of the people couldn't do that. It was just physically impossible. Bad programming. So maybe if you have that version of the game, tell me if it works. Maybe I would try my luck again in that game. Otherwise, I'm not picking it up because it it did not work in the past. So unless someone fixed the controls, I don't care.